Welcome to Hey, It's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour, where authors will talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and play some fun book games. I'm your host, Carly Rae. Today we have the Senior Executive Editor at Random House, Delacorte Press, and author Wendy Loggia. We're going to be talking about her new Christmas novel, All I Want for Christmas, where her idea of Winslow's bookstore came from, if she was secretly pulling for Jacob Marley or Charlie to be with Bailey Briggs, and whether or not writing is different than editing. Plus, we're going to see how well Wendy knows her Christmas trivia when we play Game Time. We'll dive in right after this. Hello, Wendy. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Hey, CarlyRae. I am joining you from New Jersey, the Garden State.
And how's the weather there?
You know, we had a little snow yesterday, but right now it's just sort of overcast. No snow yet, but fingers crossed we get some before Christmas.
Yes. Now, your new novel, All I Want for Christmas, pictured here, centers around the character of Bailey Briggs. The underlining question in this novel is under the mistletoe with who? Tell us more about this fun YA holiday novel.
Yes. So my main character, Bailey, is a girl that is obsessed with Christmas. She loves everything about the holiday, all the traditions. And this year, she's hoping for one thing, which is to find somebody very special to kiss under the mistletoe. And since this is a rom-com with a happy ending, I think it's safe to give away the fact that her wish comes true, but maybe not in the way that she initially expects.
Well, I love Winslow's bookstore in this novel. What inspired you to create it as a backdrop in the storyline?
Yeah, so if I could live in a bookstore, which is something Bailey wishes she could do, I probably would. Years ago, when I was in high school, I worked in a bookstore and I loved it. And I ended up working in many bookstores. I worked in chain bookstores, indie bookstores, and there was just something about the setting of a bookshop that I always loved. And Winslow's is sort of based on not only my own experience working in bookstores, but also some of the wonderful independent bookstores that I've visited over the years. It's just such a warm, comforting, cozy setting. And that was what I was really trying to bring into my book.
Well, let's talk about the love interest. We have Jacob Marley, the player and athlete. Then we have Charlie, a mysterious stranger with an alluring British accent. Tell us, did you enjoy writing one character over the other? Were you pulling for Bailey to pick Jacob or Charlie?
I really loved writing both of them. And I knew in my head initially what was going to happen and which boy she would end up picking. But I have to say there were times when I would be writing a certain scene with Bailey and Jacob, I would be team Jacob all the way. And I would think, obviously, she has to pick him. But then Charlie would come in and I would write a scene with Bailey and Charlie. And I would start to wonder, I don't know, maybe Bailey and Charlie are the couple. So it was really fun for me. Even though I had that initial sort of idea of who she was going to end up with, I think when I was writing whichever boy I was writing, I sort of loved him the most at the time. So it was a little push-pull in my head when I was writing the romantic moments that she shares with those boys.
Now, do you have a favorite part about Christmas you brought into this novel?
I think the question is, what didn't I put in this novel about Christmas? I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday. And I really tried to work in as many of my own traditions and things that I love about the holidays into this book. I think everything from decorating to cookie baking to the gift tags that Bailey finds at the senior center, going to the mall and seeing Santa, the holiday music, the tree farm, all of those things are things that I love to do. And I was sort of getting myself into the spirit writing this book. And then I also thought I had to not go completely overboard. But then, as I tell my family, like, Christmas is the most extra holiday there is. So if there was any holiday to kind of go all in, I think it's Christmas. And I really think I probably worked in every potential moment of the holidays that we love here. Even the Christmas puzzle, which is something that my family does every year. We have a tradition where we get a puzzle. We're able to start it at the beginning of the month of December, but we have to finish it by Christmas. And anybody who comes to my house is welcome and needed to help us complete it. And this year we are really far behind, like really far behind. So we have our work cut out for us. But all of those details are just things that I love. And I was hoping that readers would enjoy reading about them, and it would help make the season a little bit merrier and brighter.
Now, is your puzzle Christmas themed?
Absolutely. It's Christmas themed every year. And that's always a big kind of topic of debate, is what is the puzzle going to be? Because sometimes we've had puzzles where it might be a big snowy scene and you realize half the puzzle is snow, and those pieces are so hard to do. So this year we have a little Christmas village scene with skaters and people walking and kind of just being happy at Christmas time. So that's our puzzle this year. And we take a photo of the puzzle when we complete it, and we tape it on the back of the box and write the year that we did it. So we have a big stack of them in our basement. And sometimes if we amazingly finish the Christmas puzzle in time, we'll go get another one from Christmases past and start it up. So it's a fun tradition. And now I think you can find a lot more Christmas puzzles than in the past. Before it was a bit of a struggle, and now I feel like everywhere we go, we see Christmas puzzles. Maybe it's just that we're looking for them. I don't know.
No, I definitely think like puzzles are trending with like COVID and stuff. I've seen them like everywhere too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sort of a great thing where you can just kind of, no matter what you're doing, if you just want to sit for 15 minutes and just sort of focus on nothing except where does this piece go, and have maybe a cup of cocoa or tea and just kind of relax and chill out a little bit. It's nice to kind of stop and do something like that.
Yeah. Now, in All I Want for Christmas, did you have a favorite part about crafting it?
I knew my basic idea was going to be girl, mistletoe, who will she pick? I think I really enjoyed, honestly, being inspired. I also knew that I wanted to have all of the chapters open with song titles. And so I was very much aware of those songs that I wanted to use, and trying to make sure that the action that took place in each chapter had some sort of nod to the song. So that part was really fun. And then just developing the characters, everything from, how I imagine them walking and talking, and what they wore and what they liked to do, and treating the settings just like the characters in terms of, really in my head, fleshing out what each scene would look like, and probably knowing way more about all of that backstory than I ever wanted to put on the page. But it's just important for me, as I was writing it, to kind of have that firm groundwork to base the book on. So all of that was really fun. And I will say revising is probably my really favorite part, because that means I'm done. I've turned in the manuscript. It's off my plate, and I love getting notes and ways on, suggestions on how to make it better. So revising is always, a really enjoyable part of the writing process for me.
Yeah. Well, you heard Wendy talk all things All I Want for Christmas out now. Stay tuned because when we return, we're going to find out if the senior executive editor finds writing different than editing. Welcome back to Book Hour. I'm your host, Carly Rae, here with Senior Executive Editor at Random House, Delacorte Press, author Wendy Loggia. Wendy, you have been the editor on many phenomenal books, including The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and the Gemma Doyle trilogy. What was it like writing a novel instead of editing one, having an editor to answer to instead of being the editor?
I mean, I have huge respect for writers because writing a book is hard. It is work. And so I think it was really, sort of gratifying to me to be able to use all of the tricks of the trade that I've learned from the many incredible authors that I've worked with over the years and put it sort of to work on my own book. Being an editor, you're always very respectful and aware that your name is not the name that's on the front cover of the book, it's the author. So when I work as an editor, my goal is really to take a book and make it the book that I think it's meant to be, that the writer is intending it to be, and that the story is the very best story it can be. And my opinions are really that, and my suggestions are suggestions. But writing my own book, I was sort of free to do whatever I wanted, which I loved. And it was really very obvious that I needed an editor because I was going down all sorts of different paths. And so I really welcomed getting that feedback, which is feedback that I know is really meant to make my book stronger and better. And so that was really really exciting for me to get those editorial notes.
Yeah. Now, editing involves many different stages, from developmental to line editing to copy editing. Is there one editing stage you love the most?
I think the stage, honestly, that I love the most is reading a submission that comes into me and realizing that it's awesome, it's different than any other book we have on the list, and that we really should be publishing that book. And that pursuit of the project and the acquisition process is probably my favorite part of being an editor. And then when it comes down to the more nuts and bolts, nitty gritty, I really love the developmental editing. I love asking all of the questions about plot and pacing and character, and really getting in there and reading both as a fan, which is how I like to approach all manuscripts, reading the first time really as a fan and just being in love with it. And then the second time reading it more as a critic and trying to flag every little thing that I think might benefit from some tweaking and some change, maybe, small tweaks, big tweaks, you never know. And really getting to have that dialogue, which it really always is a conversation. Revision is always a conversation with an author, and whether it's through notes on a manuscript or letters or phone calls or random emails, it's really that back and forth that we're working, that we're partnering together to make this book the strongest it can be. And as far as the copy editing goes, we have a copy editing team at Random House, and they save us on a daily basis, our authors and the editors, from making the gaffes that we don't want to go into a book. So without them, I mean, they really are the unsung heroes of the publishing process. So I'm not a copy editor. I'm sure I make many grammatical errors on a daily basis, but I think I am pretty good at really being a sort of a trained reader and being able to identify things that need to be fixed. And I will say that sometimes I don't know the answer. I know that there's something wrong and that it needs to be adjusted, but I don't always have the answers. And luckily, sometimes just raising the question might turn a switch on in a writer's head, and they might say, oh, I knew that was a problem. I was hoping you weren't going to think it was one. That's always when you can come together in that way, and then hopefully solve the problem together.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to know, you did say you had an editor on All I Want for Christmas. Did you try editing yours first?
I did. I mean, I would say I definitely knew the things that needed to be sort of part of this book. So I knew that there had to be conflict, and I knew that there had to be romance, and I knew, I wanted the teenagers to feel authentic. So all of those things I was trying to sort of self-edit. But then there were points where I knew like maybe something wasn't quite right. And I might even have left a note for the editor saying like, I know this isn't great, help me. this part just, I can't figure it out. Or sometimes there would be I think a moment where I would think like, do we need another scene like this? Or I think I had to sort of walk myself back from writing in every single Christmas trope there could be. So I think I tried to dial it back, but I can specifically think of one thing that I had toyed with the idea of doing with one of the characters, and I did it. And then my editor wisely was like, no, you can't go there. Like you've gone too far. And it was sort of good for me to hear that, because I kind of thought that might be the case, but it was nice to hear somebody with from the outside telling me that as well.
Now, you have been an editor for years. What made you also want to write?
So I started writing. This is actually, I want to say, maybe my 40th book. I have written a lot, and I kind of fell into it. So my first job in publishing, I worked on board books, like super simple board books for toddlers. And so in that job, I would write the text for the board book. Very, very simple, no credit, nothing, because the text was so simple. But I really liked it. And so then the opportunity came up to start writing for licensed properties that tied into a TV or movie show. And I thought, maybe I could throw my hat into the ring and try this. And I really liked that. So that was sort of what started me writing. And it's always been something I love to do, but it ends up kind of ebbing and flowing. So there have been times where I've been working on a couple books. I write under pseudonym sometimes. And so there have been times where I've been working on a few books, and then there might be a couple years where I don't write anything. And this book kind of came out of the idea that we have a paperback publishing line at Random House that we just started called Underlined, which is what All I Want for Christmas is a part of. And we were really trying to publish seasonally based titles. So we were looking for Valentine's Day romance and a summer romance and maybe a thriller horror book that would come out in time for Halloween. And we were really thinking seasonally. And we wanted to do a Christmas book. And what I left out is that we were on a very, very fast schedule. So we needed people that were able to write very quickly, because this line came together so fast. And we could not find somebody who could write the Christmas book and meet the deadlines. And somebody said, well, Wendy, you write. Do you want to write it? And I was like, I think I do. I think I do want to try it. So that was sort of how this book came about. And then I just sort of threw myself into it and thought, it was just such a fun time of year to write about, and such, just it lifted my spirits, I think, working on this book. And I will say, we sort of flew fast and loose, that I may have missed a few deadlines. Or I may have been a little late with some of my deadlines, but I was sort of writing it in real time. So it was really like celebrating the holidays last year and writing this book at that time. It was all kind of gelled together, and it was really fun. And I've written some romance novels a number of years ago, and it was just really nice to sort of wear that hat again and start working on Why Romance. And I just want to do more because it was really a lot of fun. I had a blast writing it.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We'll be right back to play Game Time.
Coffee. The liquid that helps us start our day or keeps us going at 2 p.m. when our keyboard pillow nap comes calling. At Fire Department Coffee, we know how important it is to you that your coffee tastes great. Because let's face it, when you're choking down 8 to 10 cups of bean juice a day running back-to-back calls, or just trying to keep your wits together while your well-behaved children tug at every last strand of your sanity, we want to make sure that every last drop in your mug is the best coffee you've ever tasted.
Who are you talking to?
That's why at Fire Department Coffee, every stage of your order is watched after by carefully trained professional eyes, like our head roaster, retired fire captain Dave Dave! From our R&D department that's always striving to make sure that your next cup of Fire Department coffee is the perfect balance of wonderful taste and the caffeinated motivation that you need to get through your day.
There has got to be a better way of testing this.
Probably.
Making sure that you get your orders delivered to you as quickly and affordably as possible. Hey, Doris, you know you're the only lady I hand deliver to.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I was wondering if you could help me. I think my cat is stuck in the attic again.
Are you sure he's up here, Doris? It's really hot and I can't see anything.
Oh, I'm sure he's still up there. Why don't you take off your shirt? You wouldn't want to overheat.
Not falling again for that, Doris.
And at the end of the day, we're just thankful that we get to follow our passion of making high-quality coffee for thousands of hardworking people all across the world. So thank you for your support, and we look forward to making each and every one of your days better, one cup of coffee at a time.
Woo! Good job, guys. Very nice.
Smooth.
A lady named Doris just ordered a couple bags of coffee and asked for it to be delivered by her steamy ginger firefighter.
Oh, that lady is relentless.
Welcome back. It is game time. The first game we're going to play is Trivia Christmas Edition. Wendy, I'm going to read you questions about Christmas, and we're going to see if you can answer them.
Okay. I hope so.
The first question is, what was the first song played in space?
Could it be Jingle Bells?
Yes! Ding, ding, ding!
Wow, I can't believe it.
The second one, there is a Christmas tree in Spain worth how many millions?
I'm going to say 3 million?
No more.
6? 10?
More.
Wow, what is this tree?
It's worth $15 million, and it's apparently made with gems from Cartier, Bulgari, and other like rare gemstones.
Wow, that sounds different than my Christmas tree. I'm just saying, it sounds a little different, a little more bling. I'd love to see that. Wow.
I know, yeah. Number 3, what is the largest Christmas gift ever located in the USA? It's in New York.
The largest Christmas gift ever. I'm going to guess it was a house maybe given to someone. No.
It was from a country, gave it to the United States.
Was it the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
It was. I needed to do a history lesson here. Wow. Yeah. Okay. That was a pretty nice gift, right?
Yeah. All right. Number 4. Who invented Christmas lights?
Oh, that's a great question. I have no idea.
The same person as who invented the light bulb.
Oh, Thomas Edison.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
The final one is, how many thousands of lights does the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree feature?
Wow. I'm going to say 100,000?
25,000.
Oh, well, clearly I want it to be brighter.
Go give us a couple more thousand.
I can't imagine that. Like I think getting the lights up in your own home can be such a sort of ordeal. So I cannot imagine the patience that those tree decorators have there. That's incredible.
Untangling the lights.
Oh, it's, not my favorite part.
Well, that concludes our trivia. Now we're going to play This or That Christmas edition. So the first one is real Christmas tree or artificial one?
Can it be a draw? Because I love real, but I have an artificial just because it was the more practical way to go. But I might go real again. So that one I have to be a draw on.
Okay. Number 2, Hallmark Christmas movies or Lifetime Christmas movies?
I'm going to say Hallmark Christmas movies, although I've seen some Lifetime movies advertised that look amazing. So I may have to switch over, but right now I'm a Hallmarky.
The Grinch, the movie, or Elf?
I'm going to say Elf.
Frosty
you can't go wrong with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I know. Frosty the Snowman or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Oh, that's so tricky. I'm going to say Rudolph. I mean, Rudolph and Clarice, a love story for the ages. I can't go against Rudolph.
Garland or tinsel?
I'm going to go with garland because that's what I have on my tree. Although I think tinsel is just so beautiful and magical and Christmassy, but I've got to give the edge to garland.
Snow or sand?
Snow. Most definitely snow. Sand the rest of the year, but at Christmas time for me, there has to be a little snow in the air.
No. Hot chocolate or hot apple cider?
Oh. I make a mean hot apple cider in the crock pot with mulled spices that may be a bit legendary in my own house. But at Christmas time, it's going to be the hot cocoa.
Yeah. Snowman or snow angels?
Snow angel, because making a snowman always looks so easy when they do it in the movies, and making one can take quite a bit of time. So a snow angel you can just drop and flutter. So I go snow angel.
Reading Christmas books or singing Christmas carols?
I'm going to go with reading Christmas books while listening to Christmas carols. So you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And then finally, wrapping Christmas presents or ice skating?
Oh, I'm going to say wrapping Christmas presents. I love ice skating and did it for many years. But there's nothing like wrapping Christmas presents while drinking that hot cocoa, the Christmas movie playing, the Christmas music coming out of the speakers, and maybe having a cookie or two. So wrap.
Well, that concludes game time. Wendy, I want to thank you for being on Book Hour and joining us today. Before you go, tell viewers if you're writing more books or if you're working on other projects.
Yes. So I definitely am writing more books. I think my next book will probably take place in a different season. So not the holiday season, although I wouldn't mind doing another romance with a little wintry backdrop, but definitely more YA romance to come. And I want to also give a little bit of a shout out to all of the authors that I work with whose books, always stay top of mind. And it's been really wonderful for me to get to have the editing on one side and the writing on the other. So it's been a merry way to spend my 2020.
Yeah. Now, if viewers want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
On Instagram, I'm at author Wendy Loggia, and on Twitter, I am at Wendy Loggia. And on both Twitter and Instagram, I post about bookish things, books I'm working on, the writing process, really anything that a book nerd out there would like to know. That's what you'll find on my feed.
Well, you heard Wendy. Go check her out now. All of her social media handles are in the description below. Wendy, thank you so much for being on Book Hour. And for those watching, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me, CarlyRae. This is a wonderful, wonderful way to spend the holiday season talking with you. And I wish everybody out there a very happy holiday season.